Hello, Ivica.
Hello.
So welcome to my interview series. And yes, I think you're another really interesting person for this interview series. And yeah, for those who don't know you, can you maybe give a short introduction of who you are?
Uh, People most know me as a DJ from some encuentros around Europe, and also they know me from my blog Tango Mentor. I have local school here in Skopje in Macedonia, and I teach almost, let's say, 8 years or something. So that's my work. I have 47 years of age, and I dance from 2010.
Okay.
Hope that's enough.
Yes, yes. Well, that's quite clear. Um, so just maybe also a short summary. What's your website about, your blog?
I The idea behind the blog was to share my experience as a dancer, as a teacher, and share all my journey from when I started, because I think I have very unusual tango journey about because when I started in my community there were no tango schools. I had no regular teacher, so I had to figure it out all my by myself. So I would have been very happy if I had something like that when I started learning. So I decided to share what I know with other people who might find it useful in their tango journey.
Yeah, and people who might be in the same situation, right?
Yeah,
That you were
yeah,
in when you started.
yeah. That was basically the idea, and this is why the name I had. The name is Tango Mentor because it's not tango teacher. It's not. It's somebody who helps you along the way. And actually it was done my choice. I had few ideas behind when you start something like blog or website, you first choose your domain. So I had few available domains, and I didn't know which one should I choose. So basically this one was chosen by my friends. So I made a poll,
Oh,
and other names that were, as I remember, were Tango Mindset and something like that. I don't remember exactly.
well, this one sounds the best, I think.
I don't know, but
It's a
it was
smart
a
name. I think it's a
poll. Yeah,
smart name.
yeah, yeah.
So
Good.
that's interesting that you already told us a bit about your beginning. So
Yeah.
let's focus like on your on questions like what's your personal background and how did you discover tango?
I had nothing to do with dancing at all in my life. Actually, I am a guy who, in parties, stands in the corner and drinks and do nothing. Uh, I uh, I listen to all kind of music, but I'm mainly heavy metal guy.
Okay.
And I had during my high school years, I had a band, and we played a lot actually. We played on festivals and so on. So I was singer and I played music. I played guitar. So if I have some kind of background connected to music, this is my only background connected to dancing and music. So and maybe this is why I don't see tango as a dance. I see it like something more than a dance. So um, about you asked me about how I started to dance.
Yes.
So it was actually a little bit funny story. Uh, uh, I liked a girl,
Okay.
so I tried to make a date with her, and she told me, uh, "Yeah, we can meet, come to tango," because the tango community here when I started was very small, and they had just 5 or 6 men dancing. So one more man was a lot. So she tried to recruit me to
Yeah.
become tango dance. And the interesting thing is that she stopped dancing, and I continued dancing.
Okay. That's funny.
And I even become a teacher. So
Yeah, it's really funny. Some of these stories I hear sometimes of how people get into it, and even with men, it's even more interesting because sometimes I speak to men who weren't interested in dancing at all,
yeah,
and well, I wasn't really interested in dancing either. I just really loved the music, and then I just explored the option of starting to dance tango. But yeah, I wasn't pulled into it by a girl. So
uh-huh.
you were, and that's a funny story that she stopped. So
Yeah,
she didn't continue, but you did. That's
yeah, and I think that's when I ask people, how did you start dancing, and I think the most important thing is why you stayed with the dance, because many people start dancing, but not all of them stay with the dance. You have to find something in the dance in order for you to stay in dance, because especially for men, it requires a lot of investment of time and money and energy and so on. And I think for me, when I speak for me, it's it's somehow coincided with me starting to discover some things about myself and my life. It was because generally I'm a guy who is more focused on the verbal things. I'm basically a materialist, so I try uh, to give everything I do, everything I think it should have form or something. And I also think about like that about the communication. So tango opened to me a lot of perspectives that you can communicate without words, without being verbal. So it was a great basically, even without tango, I started to discover this part of communication. But tango enhanced it a lot. Tango gave me a platform to work with that. So I think for a lot of people, that is one very good reason to dance tango, to learn to dance tango, because it can give them platform to work on their communication skills.
yes, but not the verbal ones. So it's more like
Yeah, but communication is mostly non-verbal. It's
okay,
scientifically proven that I don't know, 2/3 of the communication is not verbal. Even when you talk verbally, it's how you say it, is what kind of body posture you have during the communication.
okay, okay. So it really for you, it was really like finding something that gave some new direction to your life.
Yeah, basically, yeah, yeah. It helped me. Uh, it helped me work on that non-verbal part of the communication. And also the part about social life was very important for me, because usually I didn't find it was when I was younger, you like to go out to the concerts, to disco, and to places where there is loud music and a lot of people, and basically people in that environment. I didn't feel that I belong there. I didn't feel that I can express what I want to express, because it's too loud, it's too noisy, it's too many too many things that distract your focus and so on. So you cannot really connect with people in that environment. It's only superficial. It's only on the surface. And tango was, wow, you can go out and meet people and communicate with people in much deeper way than going out in discotheques or something.
Okay. Well, that's interesting. I haven't heard that before, but that's the
Yeah,
perspectives I'm looking for, because that's something I can learn from as well. If I hear stories like this, it's pretty nice.
yeah. I think that is one very important part which people often neglect. That especially people think that about tango from watching YouTube videos and so on. I talk about people from outside of tango. So they see YouTube videos of dancing tango. They see Hollywood representation of tango, and they don't understand that social part of the dancing. And I think that is the basis of that is tango, the social environment of the tango.
Yes, well, we're definitely going to talk more about that later, because you also have a milonguero focus in your dancing, so that makes it probably even stronger in a way.
Yeah,
But yeah, let's talk a bit more about these beginnings. So you started dancing because of someone else, and then you stayed. So what
because of
happened?
myself.
Yeah, yeah. And so what happened? How did you get hooked into it?
So I already told you that that part about the communication,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
it was also a challenge for me because it gave me a platform to work on myself, to develop those nonverbal skills, and also I discovered I enjoy it physically, because that physical part cannot be ignored. It's also part of the dance, and because I think that I'm quite ambitious in whatever I do. So when I start doing something and go all in, 100%. So I was very frustrated when I could not find a teacher here,
Hmm.
and I start I started searching for videos. I started going to festivals and take workshops with big name maestros and so on. But uh, I very quickly concluded that you cannot learn quite online from videos, and I didn't like what I was taught on these workshops,
Hmm.
because uh, most of that what I learned there was very hard for my level, and also it was uh, it required for me a lot of investment in practicing, in in uh, in money also, and didn't pay off as much, because let's say you learn some complicated step or some complicated sequence, and you cannot use that every time on milonga. You need something basic, something down to earth, and I could not find that. It was very hard. So I decided to find some teachers which can teach me that, just walking, just some basic simple steps. And also I decided to discover. I discovered these milongueros, these guys who dance socially. And I said, yeah, this is how I want to dance, because I saw that these guys danced in a way which is first very personalized, very. Uh, I saw these show dancers as very uniformly dancing.
Hmm.
And I saw that every milonguero dancer had their own style, which was very different from dancer to dancer.
Yes.
Very different. So I said, this is more down to earth, more for mortals, should I say. And uh, I because I wanted to learn from them, and I didn't have money to go to travel to Buenos Aires, I decided to understand how they think about their dance, what they feel, what they say about their dance. So I started to read a lot about how they did it, how they learned, um, about how they think from interviews. From uh, I found this channel and I appreciated a lot from Monica Paz, Practi Milonguero. She had a lot of interviews with old milongueros. So I tried to get in their mind, to start to think like them. So that helped me a lot, because that helped me to understand what I want from the dance, to understand, to recognize good teachers as well. So I learned what I want, and the next step was to find somebody to teach me that, and it was very hard,
Hmm.
because here in the region you don't find milonguero dancers. It's everything just show, steps, cardio, legs flying in the
Sorry,
air.
are you
So
talking about 12 years ago or now as well?
no, Now some things are changed,
Okay.
or maybe now I'm aware of them. But back then, when you start, when you don't have connections, when you don't know people, it's everything just show dancing, nuevo, and so on.
Yeah.
And also, you said that you started dancing tango because of the music. I didn't like the traditional music in the beginning. It was, I don't know, I didn't like it a lot. I
But
liked,
that's more common. What you say is more common, I think, than
yeah,
the other way
yeah.
around. Yeah.
It was old-fashioned. It was, uh, I don't know, I didn't like the way they sing. I didn't understand the lyrics and so on and so on. So I started with, as usual, with something nuevo, something which connects to you, electro tango, non-tango music, and so on. And suddenly you understand that what you're dancing and what you're hearing is not compatible that much. Because later on, I learned that what you do on the dance floor, the steps, are connected to the music. So they develop together. They developed as a one. So you cannot separate them. So when some people ask me, can you dance to this music? Can you dance to that music? No, I can make the steps, but that is not tango. You know, you can make the same step and when people dance to electro tango and they dance nuevo, that is completely different dance. It's not tango. It's something else.
Yeah.
Something that is derived from tango.
Yes.
So this is my opinion.
But how did you find you said you weren't really finding any people to teach you?
Luckily, I started traveling festivals first, where I could not find those kind of people, and also I two ways. I met people who were traveling to Skopje, and I met them and asked them for private classes, no matter were they teachers or just the regular dancers.
Oh,
So
okay.
somebody doing something I like, teach me that. So I already knew what I wanted to do. So I found out how to test. And after that, on one of the festivals, I met a guy from Croatia, and he told me, "Oh, but you dance milonguero," and I was not aware of that. I was dancing like I thought I should dance in social context. So he told me, "Oh, you should travel to those events," and she showed me some encuentros because that was hidden world for me. Because encuentros usually don't advertise, they are not so famous, and they are closed. You need recommendation to get in, and I didn't know any of that. So I started to travel to encuentros. The first one was the Villa, the
Okay.
Experiencia Milonguera, which was not 100% Milonguero because it's open for different styles and so on, but it's entry point. It's very good entry point.
Yes, but I'm kind of surprised that without any like teachers, you managed to
Yeah,
to
and
jump to this encuentro stuff.
yeah, and the point is this: I practiced a lot, and I'm very thankful to this day to all of the girls who who participated in my learning process because I was actually reinventing the tango with them.
Okay.
You know, I saw that on the video on some old milonguero dancing. I wanted to learn that. So what I knew from the workshops and so on and so on, and with what I practiced, actually I developed a style which was very similar to milonguero. So when I went to Italy, first time, I met Mirta Teixeira. You know about her.
Yeah.
So I danced with her, and I remember to this day, I told her, it was actually very interesting. I knew her from the videos of Dancing with Milongueros. And she don't know English, I didn't know Spanish or Italian, so it was very hard to communicate. And I told her, oh, I like how you dance, and I like those milongueros. And I started to mention people whom I watched on videos, and I told her, I don't know, Susana Miller, Mirta Teixeira, and she was Mirta.
Okay. Yeah.
And it was very, very interesting moment, you know.
But did you
And
know that that it was her?
no,
Oh,
somebody
okay,
told
okay.
me,
Oh, okay.
we went to the Milonga before we going to the villa, and somebody told me there is an Argentinian teacher here in the Milonga. I said, who is it? And they showed me, and we danced. Actually, I made a mistake. When we danced, we introduced to herself, and she told me Mirta. I said, oh, Mirta, como Mirta Teixeira. I said, no, but it's me, Mirta
Ah,
Teixeira. And um, after that, I asked her for private classes and so on. And I told her, I want to dance like those old milongueros. And she told me, but you are dancing like those milongueros.
oh, that's very
And
nice.
so it was, I didn't understand, was it, I asked myself jokingly, was it a compliment? You're
Mm.
dancing like those old guys. But I think it was compliment for me. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. Well, I've never heard
So,
this before that someone learned to dance like you, but already so specifically, and they did it all by themselves. Um,
but it's not hard, actually. If you know what you want, you see how they dance, and I spent hours of analyzing how they do it.
yeah.
And when you know what they think about what they do, when you hear a million stories about how they learned, because in the beginning there were no teachers, they learned by themselves, practicas and so on. So you try. It's nothing special. We all have two legs, one body.
Yeah,
So
but at the same time, I think it's really strange that you like it's really like you knew exactly what you wanted. I've never heard something like that before, but I also think it comes from not having options. So you didn't have the options that people in my country have to learn tango.
yeah,
And then you had to do your best, and then maybe because of that you got better results than some other people who have more options. That's just how it works
I
sometimes.
would not say better, but I would say different.
Okay, okay.
Because as I mentioned already, tango is not standardized dance.
Yeah.
There is no better, you know. I don't know. I can say what is better for me, in my opinion, but this doesn't mean that tango is this is better tango than that one. It's like sex. Some people like it some way, other people, but there is no better way.
No, no,
You know,
no.
the, uh, and uh, and also, of course, I had a lot of space for improving. So what I
Yeah,
learned,
yeah.
let's say the biggest lesson I learned when I started taking classes with Mirta private, she told me that to communicate with a partner, that I don't communicate with my partner with my torso, with my solar plexus, with this part. I Because I learned from people who were dancing nuevo and blah blah blah, and they taught me to use my hands, to
Yeah.
stay to dance this open embrace, which is, in my opinion, not an embrace at all. It's open position. We all know what is embrace when you embrace someone. So she taught me to learn how to communicate with the body. So when I returned home, I tried to reinvent everything I did communicating with this. So I
Nice.
started practice with my hands on the back. So I think that made a lot of difference, because when you start communicating from your torso, everything clicks, everything goes. People spend a lot of time learning their posture. What's your posture? I don't teach my students posture, because if you communicate from this part of the body, from the front of your body, your posture comes naturally.
Okay.
You don't have to learn that.
Yes, yes.
So that's my story, my origin story.
And how did you learn keep learning from that point?
So I took a lot of private classes when I traveled. When I met guy who I liked his way of dancing, I asked for private classes.
Ah, yeah, yeah. You said
So
that.
so I lot I practiced a lot. So when you learn the basics, after that it's very easy. I think
Hmm.
when you learn the basic techniques, you go like in the supermarket, you take steps from the shelves. It's very easy. And I think it was Ricardo Vidort, one of the old milongueros. I read somewhere that he only gave only 8 classes. And after that, he would have told his students, go to Milonga and use that now. Because tango should develop naturally. Not all of us have the same anatomy, and depending on what kind of anatomy you have, different steps will be better for you. So different people learn different steps because of their natural anatomy. And you learn the basics, and after that you should develop the style by yourself. This is my opinion.
And how did you develop your style? The rest of your, like you said, you learned the basics from a lot of different
Actually,
sources.
I don't like. I didn't like how I dance, and I notice even now when you don't consciously focus on what you do on the floor, your style start to deteriorate. Meaning, it's not the way you want it to be, because you have a lot of influences. And I tell to my students, you can watch whatever you like, but you should be aware that what you consume reflects on your dancing. And I think the biggest mistake people do is that they adore to watch these show dancers. And after that reflects on their dancing. No matter, you are maybe aware that it's just show, but that influences how you think, especially the musicality. Especially when you see how people think about the music, it's very, very connected to what you watch, what you see, what you consume. Because the main point I want to make here is that there is a difference between, and I also I noticed I analyzed a lot of videos from old milongueros dancing. And I'll analyze how they listen to the music, what repertoire they're using in their dancing. And I noticed the main difference between milonguero, what they call milonguero, because that is basically tango. There is no milonguero, it's only tango and the other variant, which is show dancing, escenario. What I noticed, the main difference between show dancing and tango, social tango, is musicality. Because in show tango, everything is about being seen. Everything is in front. Everything should be easily perceived. The point is that when you listen to the music, there are different layers, and the top layer is what touches your ear, what comes to your ear. But there are deeper layers which you cannot hear, which are not. I mean, you can hear a music without rhythm. Let's say you can just hear a violin without rhythm, without anything. But that doesn't mean that there is no rhythm. So this is a little bit lower, deeper level of musicality. So when a show dancer dances, when he hears some kind of music like dun 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 dun, he makes a little steps to that superficial level. But the deeper level is the steps, the beats, and the the bars, the measures.
Okay.
You have 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Even if you don't hear that, that is part of the music. And that is, in my opinion, very knowledgeable way of dancing. And this is what I see a lot in the old milongueros dancing. So you don't try to follow the music. You follow the structure behind the music. And when you do that, it actually feels like the music is following you.
Well, that's funny.
Yeah. And people usually in the language, there is people usually say follow the beat. No, you have to internalize the beat, and it will feel like the beat is following you. And this is that state of flow of dancing, when you start feeling that you're one with the music, that the music is following you. Even it was recorded from people that are long dead.
And so does that mean, for example, that if there's a certain phrase in the music,
Yeah.
And you hear these sound like these small beats, or that you don't always follow whatever you hear, but that you choose what to.
No, you start with the basics. It's like fashion. When you dress up, you first start with the basics. So the basics is, let's say, black t-shirt, jeans, and some sneakers. And
Yeah.
after that, on top of that, you put your showpiece. Let's say some red shirt or something which is noticeable. So when you dance, is the same. You don't build your dance, your repertoire, just with the showpieces, which many try to, because when you do that, you look like a clown, because that is what clowns do. They have red nose, they have dots, they have one shoes like this, everything is showpiece. There is no basics, there is no something without anything going on there. It's not minimal. So you need some minimal basics, and after that you put one showpiece, not too much. And what I noticed from these show dancers, from this and their influence on the dancing communities, it's everything about showpieces. It's every step should be big or something special or something. And I don't think that is good way of dancing. It's too much,
Yes.
It's like, and it's not beautiful, because I compare that very often with the bodybuilders. It's beautiful it's good to have good body, but that is too much. Don't do it too much. It becomes ugly when it's too much.
Yes.
And
Yes.
the dancing stops being way of communicating with another human being. It becomes sport. It becomes cardio.
Yeah. Cardio. Yeah, that's funny. Yes. Uh, so let's see. So can you maybe say something about how you actually became a teacher? Like you've already taught some things about your teaching philosophy, I think, and how to you seem to have some strong opinions on what is good practice in a sense. So it makes sense that you are also a teacher, and that you like transmitting this knowledge to other people. So how did you become a teacher? Was that very natural for you?
Yes, it was actually natural process, because I told you we didn't have regular schools and regular teachers in Skopje. And me and one friend here, we actually I started private practicas in my home. I would have invited a girl and practice, and we practiced, just both of us, two of us. And later on, with this friend, a guy, we started just practical, just and we shared our experience. Somebody would have learned something, I wanted to know that, and we helped each other. And I never had ambition I would become a teacher or something like that. There was one lady, a dancer, who worked as a professor at faculty or something, some pedagogy or something. And she told me, "Oh, Ivica, but you are a great explainer. You explain very very well. Why don't you start making classes? Why don't you just practice?" And at first, I had resistance to that idea. And after that, when I thought about more deeply, I understood that yes, I can help the people if I start doing that more. So it was gradual process. It was not like from now on I'm a teacher, you know. And later on, when I saw the results of my teaching, I was encouraged more to do that more, because I understood that people learned faster in my school than usual. And I think that is because I focused my work mostly on the basics. I never tried to teach them those showpieces, because the showpieces are, as I mentioned, I think before, the showpieces are meaning complicated steps are very heavy to invest. You have to invest a lot. You have to practice a lot. You have to take time to learn them, and they are very hard to incorporate in the music on the dance floor. So they're very, I say, very expensive, and the payback is very low.
Yeah.
So I don't think you should spend much time on learning complicated stuff. In opposing to that, I tell to my students to spend a lot of time on the basic stuff. So because that is very usable in the milonga setting. When you go to the dance floor, it is very usable, and it requires less effort and less time to practice, because it's simple. And if you want to dance simple, tango is easy.
Yes.
And when you learn that basics, after that, as I mentioned, when you learn the basics, you actually could learn anything, just like going to the supermarket and taking steps from the shelf.
Yes.
And also about musicality as well. People are trying to do on the dance floor what they see on YouTube videos on festivals, and it doesn't. Some guys can succeed, others cannot.
Yeah.
And most of them cannot.
Yeah.
And teaching them that is like teaching all of the swimmers to become Olympians, which is impossible.
Yes.
Because we are not all of us dancers or physically prepared to do that, or I don't know, mentally. Or so we should be aware from the beginning what is our goal. We are not building for the show dancers. We are learning to become social dancers, and that is the main lesson people forget.
Okay.
And this is, in my opinion, this is the biggest, I think, saying the scam is too strong word. Biggest mistake of the tango industry. It teaches people to become show dancers, not to become social dancers.
Yeah. But only few are capable of becoming a show dancer.
And only few will become show dancers.
Yeah.
So
does that mean your scene in your local city, is that now like for example more focused on social dancing than other cities? Like did you contribute to a more social dance scene, or is that hard to conclude?
yes, I think so. And also, it's not humble to say that, but I think so. I would not be falsely humble to say that, but yes, I think I contributed a lot. And when people come from, especially for the how the guys are dancing,
Yeah.
because I think if men are good dancers, the dancing level goes up, because especially in the first phase of their tango journey, ladies learn easier than guys. If she dances with a good dancer, it's easier for her to dance, even if she's a beginner. So my work on how the guys are dancing, I think it helped a lot. And even I had some feedback from guys. Let's say some told me I started to really dance when I started going in your school. And also I started organizing real milongas, because before there were some tries. It's wrong if I say I am the first one who started real milongas here in Skopje, but it was not really a milonga in my opinion, because except the ronda, everything else, there were no cortinas, all kind of music were played, invitations, no cover sale, and something like that. So I started to educate the community about that. At first, it was a lot of resistance to that.
Yeah,
Oh,
sure.
you cannot tell her how to do. And if I see somebody, let's say, not respecting the ronda, when the tanda ended, I would have approached them. I asked them politely, please, could you, because in the events of the milonga, I usually published few bullet points about the basic códigos, ronda, and so on. And I asked them, please follow the ronda. And suddenly I stopped doing that. And there was this guy approached me. It was before the corona, 1 year or something. And he told me, why before you were very like a very strict, very rigid. You were like a policeman in the milongas, you're telling people how to dance and how to behave and so on. And now you're not doing that anymore. I said, because I don't have to now, because people are policing by themselves now. People are becoming aware. If somebody doesn't respect their space, they will tell them.
Yeah.
And the problem is usually you probably went to a salsa party or something like that. Usually here, I don't know how it's in other countries, but here in salsa communities, there is no thing like ronda, or I don't know. It's a different culture, different way of approaching to the dance. There is no cabeceo. People approach they were telling me, if you watch somebody in the salsa, they will consider you a weirdo. Why he's watching me like this. There is no cabeceo or mirada. So sometimes this kind of culture on the dancing events is exported from other dances, from other kind of culture.
Yeah, and it might just be the default in tango as well, abroad, away from Buenos Aires, unless you specifically teach people to do it differently. And once they understand why that policing is so good and so constructive, then at some point it's funny. Like, you don't have to explain them anymore, like you said.
Yeah, but and also in Buenos, as I learned from the interviews from old milongueros before, during the golden age, the policing part on the milongas was done by the mothers of the female dancers. Because if somebody was not respecting the rule, was not respectful, they would not allow their daughters to dance with them. So,
So
it has
Sorry, yeah, go ahead.
So you have a lot of influences. There is a history there as well, because if there are, I don't consider them rules, and I don't think usually that the códigos are rules. They are more like a suggestion, advices on how to get the most from the dances. Because if you dance in ronda, the ronda protects you, gives you space, predictable space.
Yes, and that's why it can be so hard if you are in a milonga with people who think they are show dancers, because it's very unpredictable what they're doing in front of you, and you cannot relax.
Yeah. And if they move in unpredictable ways, yes.
Yes, and so right now you live in a place where you probably have a relatively good dance community, because there's some good traditions, some good information about.
I would not say it is better than was before, but it's not better than some places I traveled to. There are some places where it's worse. There are some places where, but when I see, let's say, it was a big. I understood that as a compliment to myself. It was, I don't know. There was one girl here. She has a boyfriend. She had a boyfriend from Turkey, a tango dancer. So he visited here to the local milonga, and he said, "Oh, I like the milonga. It feels so friendly. So it's not pressure. It's so relaxed when you dance. There is a space. Everybody respects you, and so on." So this is one of the most important, in my opinion, most important differences between festivals and marathons, and on the other side, encuentros. That on festivals and marathons you have a lot of competitive feeling. You know, people are trying to dance better than others. And what I feel from encuentro and what I like, it's not always like this, of course, but I like a lot to go to an event where people dance respectfully to each other. They dance in solidarity. If they see you don't have space, they will shrink their dancing in order to give you enough space to dance. And that is something which is not learned on tango classes. This is usually a home education from your.
But I suppose you do teach that?
Yes,
Yes.
I'm very strict about this.
Yes.
We have Praktilonga where I teach them how to dance, and if somebody doesn't respect that, we stop the music and show him where is the mistake and how can be different.
So
It's maybe too rigid, but it produces good dancers.
Yeah, I wanted to say now there's probably an army from Skopje of male dancers who are very capable of dancing socially.
I would not say army, but there are dozens of good dancers. Yeah.
Okay, well, that's good.
Having in mind that our community is very small, the level of dancing is very good.
Yes.
Because Skopje is 1 million, maybe less. We have maybe 50 active dancers.
Yes.
So we have, I would say, maybe 10 guys who travel to encuentros, and they are respected dancers.
Nice.
So having in mind that it's a small community, I take that as a compliment.
Yes.
I sometimes joke, Skopje Aires.
Sorry?
I sometimes joke. I say we live in Skopje Aires.
I like that. Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's if it's better or much better than some other places, then yeah, that's a compliment to you. And yeah, I think it's really interesting about this interview that you show a lot of dedication to something. Yeah, that you can't necessarily only call tango milonguero. It's just like really good social dancing and focus on social dancing, and that's what you stand for, and that's also what produces the results that you want to see. So
yeah, but that is also the reality. I don't know. Do you know about the history of the word tango milonguero, of the term milonguero? About the story about Susanna Miller traveling to America and inventing the word tango milonguero.
Well, I heard about it, that it's her invention, but I don't know the story necessarily. What happened?
It was basically, from what I read, I don't know from firsthand. It was basically she traveling to US to teach, to United States to teach, and she said, I'm teaching tango or tango salon. This is what is called tango salon. It's a social dance, what we call today milonguero. But before her, there were those guys who were show dancers who sold the way they dance as a tango salon.
Yeah.
When people say tango salon, they thought about that way of dancing, and they were expecting that kind of teaching. So she had to, in order to make distinction, she had to invent tango milonguero to make distinction between that tango and this tango.
Yes.
So, but basically, as Rig McGarry from Tango and Chaos, if you know this side, he says there is no tango milonguero, or there is tango and there is show tango.
Yeah.
One is for social dancing, the other one is for stage, and that's it.
Yes. But then maybe a lot of things that are sold as tango de salon nowadays are not really social dancing.
Yeah. And unfortunately, many of I disagree with some of them, but that everybody has freedom to say what they.
Yeah.
I had a lot of disagreements with Myrta, let's say a lot. She also has. I don't know what is her approach to that, but I know we had debates with this. We talked a lot about this. So I don't think that we should try to force people to dance this way or that way, because at the end people are dancing the way they are, not the way people teach them.
Yeah.
I can teach somebody to dance the way I think is the best way, but at the end he will dance or she will dance the way she feels is better. So it doesn't matter how do teachers teach their students. They end up dancing like they want. And this is why and I think that the beauty of tango is in this, because people can express what they are, not what is imposed on them. And this is one of the reasons I don't like events like tango competitions, tango mundial, tango champions. But when somebody say, "Oh, but he is a tango champion" or something, this doesn't mean for me a compliment, because you dance tango not to show off, not to be better than somebody else. You dance for your partner, because that is good dancing, in my opinion. Not trying to be better than somebody else, or to amaze the audience. And also, when there is commission judges who judge the competition, usually tango becomes standardized.
Yes.
Because they have all of them, they have some kind of taste, what is good, what is bad, and they decide how the tango progresses, how the tango develops. So it becomes some kind of tradition of this is good, this is bad, and that creates standard.
Yeah, uniformity. Yeah, that's what you mentioned earlier as well.
Yeah.
So what you said, you disagreed about some things with Mirta. So what did you mean? I don't need to hear all the details, but what's one example of that? Like about social dancing, I think you were talking about that.
No, technical stuff. Let's say.
Oh, technical stuff. Okay.
About ocho, let's say, for example, I think that milonguero is back cross based, and what they call salon, which is basically what word should I use? Grounded show dancing. It's a show dancing without lifting your hands off the ground. It's grounded show dancing. The difference is that milonguero is based on the back cross, and that kind of dancing is based on ocho. And what is the difference? That when you make ocho, you make pivots. I mean, girls are making pivots. So in order for them to make pivots, they should be on their own axis. So if you want to make back crosses, they should lean on their partner. So when I lead some girls to make back crosses, they do ochos. Do you get my point?
Yeah.
So because of this, people used to very often they dance ocho based dancing, and that is very easily transferable to open embrace, open position, because it's the same. The difference, and that is one of the very controversial topic I was writing about, the fake embrace. That when you dance like this with separate axes, it's easier to make ochos. But that kind of dancing takes up more space, because ocho takes up more space than back cross. So if the lady is leaning on my body and I'm leading her torso, it's much easier for her to make back cross, because in order to do back cross, it's like a reverse volcada. It's much easier to do that leaning with your, and it takes up very little space. And of course, there are a lot of another techniques, which is very hard to transmit like this with a verbal.
Yeah, you can show it like you would in a lesson. So maybe instead, let's talk like you. I think you've given me a lot of opinions and things like that. So let's see how that translates into your blogs. So let's use some time to talk about your blog. So because I was asking you about being a teacher, becoming a teacher, and then being a teacher, and you said some things about that. But you also have the blog. So you're not just a local teacher in the capital of Macedonia, but you're also someone who has a blog. So can you tell me a bit about how that came to be and why? And
Basically, as I was starting to teach around, I taught here in Skopje, but I was also teaching around in the region.
Okay.
And when you teach something, you learn in the same time a lot, because you have to analyze what you do. I already did that before, and I didn't mention that part of my learning process was recording videos of myself and analyzing what I do and asking myself, how should I do that better? So when I started teaching, teaching in the communities which are not my school, because here they know what is my point of teaching and dancing. It started to appear that what I teach is a rounded approach, meaning it's all connected. You cannot separate those. And in time, people started to ask me questions. So I first started to write a blog on Blogspot, which was called Pocas Palabras. And after that, the first post on my blog, Tango Mentor, is directly copied from that one, because I had a post about the most often mistakes DJs make on international tango events, and it went kind of viral in the tango world. So after that, I transferred the same post, and I started writing on the same thing I teach my students. Everything I know, I threw it on my blog post. Nothing special there. And also, I was writing. Some people started asking me, "Oh, do you sell some CDs or something, videos or something?" Because I know people are used to seeing people, especially teachers, seeing them on videos, how they dance and how they. And to be honest, I was afraid to do that. Why is that? It's because the qualities of this approach are very hard to see, especially for people who never felt them, especially for beginners, because this way of the richness of this way of dancing is in the embrace. It's only what you feel and your partner feel, and from outside it's kind of boring. It's nothing special to see. And compare that to the show dancing, which is all about what you see.
Yeah.
And one of the differences is that, as I was taught in the beginning, before I understood what is the point of dancing, in my opinion, is that the connection is just a tool in order for you to make the steps. One of the biggest lessons that I learned is that connection is the goal of the dance, not just a tool to make the steps. The steps are just the challenges for you to prove that you have good connection. It's like, let's make it simple. It's like when you have friends, you're not sure that they are a good friend of you until there is a problem. You know, when we are all happy and everything is fine, everybody can be friends. But when how they say, friend in need or friend indeed. So when you have challenge, then you are sure that you have friends. It's the same with the dance. You can think, if you're just standing in the embrace, you can think you have a great connection, but it's not a great connection until it's tested, and you test that with the steps, with moving, with the music, and so on. So, and so I wandered off. What was the question?
Well, about the blog. So what you teach there, but then you said that a lot of things that you teach are similar to what you teach. Well, maybe what you were saying specifically is that you try to have people wanted to have videos, and you didn't want to make them.
Yeah, and I started to do that, and luckily there were a lot of people who were interested to learn what I teach, and I have few online courses.
Okay.
So some people invested in that, and luckily some of them found that it was very useful for them, even it was just a videos. So
yes.
and also I tried to give them feedback and mentoring and so on. And few years after that, when I started organizing encuentro milonguero, some of them come to my event, and I had the chance to meet them personally.
Wow, that's cool.
I was surprised. Yeah. And I was very surprised that when my encuentro there were a lot of Americans, because I have a lot of readers from US.
Okay.
So I was surprised that people took time and money and interest to travel all the way from America to Macedonia to visit my country, to meet me in person. And it was never my intention, to be honest.
So
I didn't done that to become famous. It was not my point.
No, but how do you think you reached all those people? Is that just by sharing your articles on the internet, or?
I believe that the point was that what I said touched them. They feel that it's honest and that it's true.
Okay.
Because, sorry, because who am I to teach some American guy about tango? I'm some Slavic guy from Macedonia who never traveled to Buenos Aires, and who am I to teach them how to dance tango? But they felt that my journey can help their journey. My experience can help their experience. And this is one of the, some of Argentinian, I appeal now to some of the Argentinian teachers to understand that point. That sometimes they assume that we know some things that they know, because they grew up in different culture and we grew up in different culture, so they assume we know something.
Yes,
no, everything should be explained.
Yeah, but that's the problem of making like cultural translation. Like it gets lost in translation, and they. I find it a very fascinating topic, because if you go to Buenos Aires, which you say you haven't, there's a lot of things there that are sorry.
No, I didn't.
Okay, so there's a lot of things there that are just naturally assumed to be normal. And for us, it not well, we all had to learn that, and of course, there are also things that they had to learn, because it's not like Argentinians are born in the milonga or something. But for them, it's I mean, some people are, because they're the children of famous dancers, or their family was involved in tango, whatever. But there's also a lot of things that are rather like cultural, normal for them, that they have to make the translation to for example, Europeans.
Some forget very much. Some are very good in translating that, but some are not. And it's not only the language barrier, it's a cultural barrier also. And also one of the reasons why I didn't travel, it was money mostly. Why I didn't travel to Buenos Aires? It was money. But the other one is that I feel, I'm not sure, that I feel that the Buenos Aires I know doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
So it's kind of like a subconscious fear that I would be disappointed.
Yes.
And also the people I wanted to meet are dying. Most of them, they are old, and I don't know. But I think it's a experience I should have.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I do understand that if you can go to encuentros, it's not necessarily always such a big priority.
Yes, and it's I believe it's different. European how European perceive tango and how Argentinians, of course, is different. You cannot just transplant the culture. Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
maybe it's a similar experience, but it's different. It's not the same.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
So.
But also there is one more thing. Some people go to Buenos Aires even before they are ready. And what does it mean to be ready? Is like I don't know who it was. It was like I think it was Beethoven who said that going to the in the nature in forest or something without knowing about it is like going to the museums with the pictures turned backwards.
Mm.
So you have to first learn what to look for. You have to have theoretical background first before you go there. Because let's say you are just starting dancing. Let's say you start 3 months or something, and you go to Buenos Aires. What you're gonna learn? You're gonna be met with the people who sell tango to the tourists, and you're gonna see this kind of tango. So you will think, oh, in Buenos Aires, that's what this way. So it's a big industry. So
Yeah.
you will think that tango is this tango for export,
Yeah, and
which is
tango
not.
for show.
Yeah, yeah,
So you get the same problem that you would get on a festival
yeah,
in Eastern Europe.
yeah.
Yes. So
Unfortunately,
let me check my question. So um so do you think you accomplished the goal with your blog, with the work you did, and even considering there were people who came to your encuentro who had read your blog?
first of all, I didn't have goal.
Okay.
My goal was to help. I don't know, people who were in situation I was before.
Yeah.
So I was just sharing my experience. But after I started doing it, uh, they something started to clear up, you know, and I feel that there are not too many voices out there in the tango community worldwide that share this kind of approach, what we say milonguero approach. There are not much. And when you start approaching in this way, there is a lot of opposition.
Okay.
It's kind of like people are splitting in that. There is a lot of debate and a lot of, not only debate, there is a lot of, I don't know how to express that. There's a lot of hostility even. And it's also a result of the social media, I think. So
So what's an example of that? What would they be against?
let's say if I express some opinion about, let's say in this interview, let's say when what I expressed about ocho-based dancing and backcross-based dancing, I'm sure there is a lot of people who say, "Oh, that's wrong." I'm 100% sure because uh, tango is very personal,
Yeah.
and there was one friend making joke to say to someone you are not a good dancer is the same like you said to them you are not good in bed. The people take it very very personally. So that's the nature of people. I don't know. So uh, But on the other hand, this is the reason, because there are not a lot of voices who say this. This is one of the motivations I have to help those people who want this kind of approach, because they don't have too much chances to learn this. I told you, people dance the way they are. I know some people who are students in schools who teach nuevo and so on, but they dance very close to milonguero. It's because this is the way they are. This is what they want from the dance. So
you just get your own audience of
yeah,
people who
you
are
have to.
interested in this.
Yeah, and you have to help them out. You have to give them what they need.
Yeah.
And luckily, let's say I'm very happy, I'm very thankful that this kind of sites exist. That when I started, let's say Tango and Chaos, I mentioned that Prakti Milonguero from Monica Paz also. There was this history
Janus?
of tango.
Janus?
Yes, also, yeah,
Yeah.
it was great. I learned a lot from those videos. And I also made, I don't know, have you checked it out? I also made my Tango Mentor website, which is just videos. All
Okay.
those videos I like, maybe 200 videos from people I learned from. So I wanted to share with people, not to search them by themselves.
Ah, yeah, that's nice.
Yeah.
So I think it's been really enthusiastic how you very interesting how you were so enthusiastic from the beginning, and
Yeah,
you still are, and you just want to export that curiosity that you had. You want
yeah,
to
basically.
share it with other people. Like that's pretty much the summary of this interview in a way.
I hope so.
So you saw something you really liked, and you wanted other people to know that as well. And
Yeah, but there is one more thing. Tango industry basically tries to reduce tango to a dance. And I think tango is much more than dance, you know, and it can play a big role in our societies, because we live in very alienated society. We separated sex from love. We separated work from the result of the work, from the product. You know, you go to work and you don't know what you produced. You don't see the final product. You just take your salary at the end of the month. It's a Marxist idea, basically. So we separated that, and also people started to alienate between each other. So we see people as tools, and this way of dancing is basically a very good platform to work on that part of your experience, because often I see people choose their partners based on their technical level, and this is basically making them tools, like an extension of your dancing. If she's a good technical dancer, I will dance to her with her, because she will help me to do the steps I want to do. You don't see person, you see tool, basically.
yeah.
So it's a dehumanization of tango. And as I remember from one lecture from Osvaldo Natucci, if you know him, he said the tango embrace was made like this. There were a lot of stories about how tango embrace came to be. One of them is that the immigrants who were in Buenos Aires felt lonely, and they were separated from their mothers, their wives, their family, and they were disappointed and lonely, and they needed a human touch. They needed embrace. They needed to be hugged. So I think tango can do this perfectly. It can connect people, reconnect people, and also we live in very touch phobic society. It's very it's not natural. It's not, and it drives a lot of depression, anxiety, and so on. And that's it.
So you would like to see more people dancing tango?
Yes, more people hugging. Actually,
Yeah. Okay.
I don't. Let's say I had a student, online student from Finland, and I was interested because we in the south consider the north countries usually more touch phobic, more distance in that regard, and ask him how they. I know that there is a Finnish tango from Finland. There is a special variety of tango in there. I said how they hug, how they dance in close embrace, and he told me, I don't know. It's very unusual. When they go to sauna, they are naked. And when they have to hug each other, they don't feel so comfortable. So they feel more comfortable naked with each other than being touched and
Yeah.
touched.
Yeah.
And anyways, we have to be aware that all generalizations are wrong. There are people who dance. I met a girl from Finland. I think her name was Maya. One of the best dancers I ever danced. One of the best hugs. So you cannot say those stereotypes.
Yeah. It's funny. So that suddenly reminded me of hearing the comment in Buenos Aires, like you embrace or you hug like an Argentine. But there's people elsewhere who can hug that way as well. So of course, maybe I was influenced by them and then became someone who gives Argentine style hugs. And I think there's a lot we can learn from there's a lot of warmth in their culture, a lot of physical warmth in their culture. I think we can learn from that, but that's not to say that there aren't people in Alaska who can really hug you really
And
much
also
better
in
than.
Argentina, people who like to hug, there are people who don't like to be
Yeah,
hugged.
yeah. So that's against the generalization in a way. Yeah,
Yeah,
so we can
stereotype.
we can draw certain conclusions, but there will always be exceptions.
Yeah.
Well, thanks, Ivica, for today.
Thank you.
And yes, I really hope to meet you at some point. I think you have a very interesting encuentro as well. So I hope to see you there at some point. And yeah, I really loved how enthusiastic you are about what you do.
Thank you
And
very much.
yeah, I hope you will keep growing your presence on the internet as well. And I think a lot of people will be helped by what you do. So I hope at
Yeah,
least
Lucas.
this interview, showed them some new people what you are all about and what you're trying to spread. And I endorse what you try to spread. So I'm happy. I'm happy that you do the work you do, and I wish you success with the rest of your mission, so to say.
Thank you, Lucas. I saw some of your videos and I can say wholeheartedly that I support your work and I thank you for your efforts. I shared some of the videos with my students, so there's a lot of things to learn from them. So thank you for your work.
Yes. Well, hope to see you soon, and thanks for today. Bye bye.
Bye.